Good afternoon, guys. I hope we're all sparkly. One final video before our well-earned break. So, why do people turn to the internet for advice regarding testosterone deficiency and testosterone replacement therapy? The answer is very simple. Most doctors don't know their asses from their elbows. I'm going to give you a case study about a private endocrinologist who does not know his arse from his elbow. So, the case study is this. A guy in his mid-40s presents with all the symptoms of low testosterone. The endocrinologist runs bloods. Testosterone, early 20s, high SHBG, borderline free testosterone, 0.32. On further talking, we recognise that he has a busy job in the hospitality industry and he drinks too much alcohol. So what elevates SHBG? Well, you look to pathologies, you look to hypothyroidism, liver dysregulation, and ask about booze. So, obviously, what you should do is tell him to reduce alcohol consumption, ensure he's eating enough calories, and recheck his levels. What happened? Well, he was commenced on Testogel. Now, Testogel with men with high SHBGs is a stupid choice of testosterone. Why? It's inadequately dosed, and the high SHBG means you're essentially not going to have any free testosterone. The half-life of Testogel is short because it's unbound. So you are not going to achieve stable levels. So did this endocrinologist prescribe a daily dose of Testogel? I mean, he should have prescribed, if he wanted to desperately treat him with Testogel, prescribe it twice a day. How often did he prescribe Testogel? Twice a week. Retard. So, funnily enough, this guy did not see the benefits of his subtherapeutic testosterone protocol. What a surprise. So he represented, had bloods done, his levels had not significantly changed. So the endocrinologist actually did prescribe Testogel daily. As I've just said, it is not an effective treatment, especially for guys with high SHBG. This guy wasn't happy. So he's had our bloods and his testosterone level has come back. Wait for it. It's come back at 92. Oh my word. So am I wrong? I'm never wrong. I'm sometimes wrong. His free testosterone came back at 2.2. He still had a high SHBG. And what has happened to his pituitary function? Well, interestingly, he has residual pituitary function. He has quite a reasonable FSH and LH. So what is going on? I'll tell you. Well, the result is obviously erroneous, because what happens when you rub the cream on your skin? It goes to the skin where your blood is being taken. So this erroneously high result is actually reflective of contamination. How do you know? It might be 92, but it's not, obviously. What's telling me it's not 92? He has residual pituitary function. So you would expect him to have, even with Testogel, pituitary suppression. So this guy actually missed his dose prior to the blood test. As the half-life is incredibly short, it was out of his body and his pituitary was kicking back in. Hence the fact he had residual pituitary function and this stupidly high testosterone level, 92, was it 96, something like that, in the 90s anyway. So what should this guy do? Is he Superman? Well, he's obviously not, is he? Because when he presented to the clinic, he had a testosterone in the early 20s. He had a high SHBG, which lowered his free testosterone, which will have accounted for his symptoms if his symptoms are due to hormonal imbalance. So, what are we going to do for him? I'm not going to simply take over his care and prescribe him testosterone replacement therapy, because that is wholly irresponsible. What I've suggested is he does what? Stop alcohol, ensure he eats enough calories, and we retest in 4 to 6 weeks time. I do not want to start you on testosterone replacement therapy, which is a lifelong therapy, unless you actually need it. Why? It's less business. My God, my Ultimate RS is literally within reach. Don't need the business. So actually it comes down to the fact that he doesn't need it, and if he wants to feel the benefits of TRT, and I want you to feel the benefits of TRT, because one of the most frustrating things is having healthy male androgen levels and not feeling well. What is going on? 9 times out of 10, it's because you have not sufficiently addressed your lifestyle, as in reducing psychological stress, improving your sleep. You've not adequately addressed your diet, and you're not training. I'm doing 2 of those 3 things. No, you need to do all 3 of those 3 things to feel the benefits of TRT, even with healthy male androgen levels. When I don't sleep, I feel tired. I don't have much energy. When I don't eat, I felt shattered the other day, and I was training. I was going, oh, there must be something wrong with my protocol. There must be something wrong with my No, I hadn't eaten, and I was training. So I didn't have that I was after. So you must understand that to feel the benefits of TRT, you need to address lifestyle, diet, and exercise. Now, what happens if you are doing all of those things and you still don't feel the benefits of TRT? Something else is likely going on. Likely is going on. So what should you do? Well, you should explore potential avenues. Now look to the neuroendocrine system. Look to pregnenolone, progesterone, and DHEA. Optimize them. What next? What next? Well, that is the $1 million question. Who should you be looking to for advice? Randoms on the internet who don't know your medical history, who have got bias because they cannot, by the very nature of the internet, be objective. Now, I insist on a face-to-face consultation and regular follow-up, which means clinical review and blood tests, because I think it's necessary. I know it's necessary in order to effect a positive change to you. Sometimes it will just be reassurance. Everything that is being done is being done. Give the process time. I had a guy the other day walk into the clinic. I finally optimized after 18 months. What was the difference? Packed up booze. Boom. So you need to be given realistic expectations. And where do you not have or receive realistic expectations? Because by the very nature of the internet, it is impossible for somebody to be objective about something they have no understanding about. Now, disappointingly, most people have more understanding than that endocrinologist. Most people have more understanding than most endocrinologists and GPs. Lots of your knowledge has come from experimentation. Lots of your knowledge has come from forums and groups. Bodybuilders, those naughty bodybuilders, well, they know more than endocrinologists. How incredibly scary is that fact? My word. But does that mean you should seek help from the internet? No. They will not take responsibility for any harm that happens as a result of the misinformation that they will give you. They cannot be objective. They cannot be considered because they don't know you. So what should you do? You should find a clinic that will take a look at you as a whole. Address you as a person. Not a quantitative number, not just how you feel, because it is actually a holistic approach that's necessary to effect a sustainable change. We don't treat symptoms, we treat the cause to positively impact the symptoms. You go to the doctor and he's going to say, have some antidepressants for your low mood, have some Viagra for your erections. No, look to low testosterone, address this first. Fundamentally, if you want to affect a positive change, look to causation. I'm out.